about 3 years since I started learning pixel art, and I often get asked how to get better or where to start. Thanks to my Patreon supporters, I was able to buy a website to help people by providing articles and links, but not everyone enjoys reading. And since we just hit 2,000 subscribers, thank you by the way, I decided, why not make a video version? The purpose of this channel has always been about all aspects of game development. In my opinion, pixel art is a wonderful medium to learn because it's easy to get into, but hard to master. It's simple, and because it is, there's a lot that can go wrong. But at the same time, that's why I love it. Thus, whether you're a beginner or intermediate artist, I hope you learned something new today. Alrighty, so to begin, we have programs now. There are free versions, paid versions, and there's versions for the PC and also for mobile. So I tried to cover all the bases here. Trying to make it as introductory as I could. Hands down though, I would have to say Sprite. It is $20 on the computer, but it is a worthy investment. There is a way to get it for free, and I would recommend looking into it. You can compile it on your computer, and it's a little tricky to do. I haven't done it myself, but I have compiled programs in the past. And compiling is just making it on your computer. It's downloading a few things and doing a little technical stuff, and if you're not a technical person, as sometimes I'm not, sometimes I can be, there's also the option of Sprite, which is like a Sprite but tweaked a little bit. So you have options. I would recommend investing into Sprite just to support it in general, but maybe you can try it for free in the compiling version and then invest in it. You have options. Now, mobile, we have a little bit to talk about. There is Sprite, which is $1 a month, $9 a year, or $22 a lifetime. The nice part about that $1 a month is that you can give $1 and try it out. And if you don't like it, or if you do like it, there's the free trial you can try to see if you enjoy it. Sprite seems to be the #1 when it comes to mobile. However, it's an honorable mention for Pixsquare, as it's the one I use, but it's only available on for iOS. So I put it up here just as an honorable mention. As far as free goes, we have Pixel Studio, again, available on both iOS and Androids. I try to keep things as flexible as possible, but the Pixsquare is an honorable mention. It is nice to have a program built around pixel art. You can certainly have Paint or GIMP or even Photoshop to do your pixel art in, but I recommend getting a program built for pixel art. It helps a lot, and in my opinion, it's just, I've tried doing it in Clip Studio Paint. Didn't go that well, but I mean, do whatever you want. Do what feels nice and comfortable for you. Now, there is one more program worth mentioning, and it's called Terraria. As far as I know, it's only available on PC, but it is free, and I like to call it an artist's best friend in the sense of you can drag any image you find online, drag and drop it in, and it's nice in the sense of you can have this on the side of your computer, you can drag it, and you can also keep it on top of your art as you're working. And it makes for a good way to look at reference. Makes for a way to see, okay, I want to draw in this style, or I want to do this thing, or I want to make this type of art. How can I do it? In this example here, I was trying to learn how to draw armor. I have here some images of rusted armor, battered armor, different types of armor here. It's nice to have all of my images in one single spot. I have some characters here that are armored up, so I can, it makes it easier, I think. And as far as mobile versions go, I'm looking up here to see. My references is references for references, but as far as mobile goes, the only one I know of is called Visref. It is only available on iOS, and I believe it is $4. It says up here $4, I'm gonna believe. It's $4. Unfortunately, there's not one I know of that exists for Android that is like this, where you can drag and drop stuff. You can also write notes. You can see here from a study I did of just looking at this art, you can see I have notes on here, and that's a really neat feature. I think it's also important to just have a program for references, especially if you're looking for certain things you're trying to learn. It's nice to create a area of things. And what's also neat about this program is I can right click this guy here, and then I can click draw, which is an option, and look at this, I can create a line. So you can get really in detail with how you write notes and how you draw notes on here. Or I can write on here the water, I like the water blue. Things like that. I think it's really handy. Next up, we have articles. So now, I know it's just complaining about a lot of you not enjoying reading, so you might want to skip this section, or maybe you don't. Now, my goal isn't to be a teacher per se, but to show you where teachers are. So in this example, I can say I have on here 4 articles you can look at. If you're more of a reader, I always find this handy, especially if I'm going to bed and want something to read. You you can see here they go into depth on what is pixel art, how does pixel art differentiate from other types of arts, where do I start, where do I go. So it's things I'm talking about now, but they go really in depth. They also go in depth into the pixel art details themselves, so I think it's handy in that sense of, if you want more, it's always here. It really is. It's just lots and lots of information, and I try to keep it in one spot. They also link to, especially this one. This one's one of my favorites. But I try to keep it in one spot. You can see here they also talk about websites, also talk about programs, and I just find it so handy. There's things like free options, other option rules of pixel arts, mixels, things of that nature. Nope. Okay. I guess we better get out of here. There's that sense of, if you like reading, it is here for you. But if you're not a reader, may I introduce you to pictures? Let's just say we have on here these two guys, Petrol's Pixel Art Guide and Cylindridron. I still don't know how to say that name, but I tried. Cylindron? That's my guess. These two guys I really enjoy. You can see here, what they do is they create GIFs of certain things about pixel art, and I find them handy bite-sized things. In my study of pixel art in Armor, I have on here some of their metal reviews. So it's a nice thing in the sense of it shows you, gives you a quick glimpse into the topic. In this example, I want to learn about armor, and it gives me some handy tips in sense of metals or defending or animations. And if we go back again, transitioning to here, you can see talks about animation, talks about attacks, blood and guts. It goes into a lot of different things, and I really find that neat in the sense of, it's one and done. You don't have to read a lot of things. Just find what you're looking for and keep it going. And I think that's the best way to learn. You can get bit by bit instead of getting overwhelmed with knowledge. Not only does Saint do this, there's also this guy here. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see, now, this one is a little bit more article-like, but if we go for this guy, for example, top-down characters, same thing in the sense of reading, but then also just handy-dandy GIFs, and I really like these. I like having them up whenever I'm doing something that relates to it. I think it's nifty having these image examples. I like them. And recently, I found this guy called Cyan Gamu. I'm sure that was also wrong. And they also kind of have something in a similar sense of, it's by images. You can see here, for example, we have pixel consistency. They talk about it a little bit and give a little bit of examples. So it's snippets of information that I think makes it digestible compared to a big overall topic. I think it makes it handy. Speaking of reading, we have Pixelogic. If I could recommend something to invest money into, it would be Pixelogic. It is a very big book on pixel art topics themselves. If you look here, this is just the free version, so you can look at the sample guide and see if you like it. And even looking at the sample guide itself is worth looking at, even if you don't plan on getting the $10 version, which is the full version. I think it lists the pixel art stuff, the terms, all of those things really well from just a beginner's version or beginner's guide. If I had to choose between, for example, looking at these guys or looking at the blogs, they're free and they really work. And I think Pixelogic works in the sense of how structured it is, working it into chapters and the fact you can look to certain areas of the chapters. And I think it has a lot of really good explanations, especially if you're more visual, as there's a lot of pictures on here. They also talk about game characters as well. So I think it's really handy. They talk about different examples, different things in that nature. If you're a reader, but also a visual person, I found this book really helpful. I wish I found it sooner. I've only known about this book for about a year, but it's one of my go-tos when I'm trying to figure out something pixel art related. So I hope you do pick this up. This is not sponsored, but I really do enjoy this book. 10 out of 10. One of my, if I had it in a physical version, I would get it. 100%. It's really handy. Now, the one thing I want you to take from this video is the use references. I'm talking, if you don't know how to draw an apple, learn how to draw an apple. If you don't know how to draw a bone, look up how to draw a bone. Take inspiration from things. You don't have to create the wheel. The wheel has been invented, and you can look at the wheel and grow upon it. We have, in this day and age, technology at our fingertips, and with it we could do so much. And I know for a fact not a lot of people know about this next thing, and I want to make sure the word gets spread. Now, pop quiz for you. If I were to ask you, how tall is Sans? What would you do to guess, right? You probably have to count individually. So like, let's say maybe he's 1, 2, 3, 4. This would take forever. And if you're trying to create him or redraw him, you'll have a hard time, especially since you'll have to grasp his measurements, his size, his scale. What if you wanted to look at his different sprites when he's turning left to right or up and down or doing a silly pose? You'd have a difficult time. And this is the Sprite Resource. It is a wonderful website, and as updating this, well, as of saying this, it will be updated soon. It's getting a big overhaul, which I'm excited for, but it seems to me not the case that it's here quite yet. But the Sprite Resource is a place you can go to that has the original assets of different video games. You can see here on the side we have games from 3DS, arcade, mobile, GameCube, all of the above. And if it's on here, you can see it. And what's great about this is for games like us, for Pixelart games, and it makes for really good references. Speaking of sans in that question, that can be easily answered thanks to the Sprite Resource. You can see here I have on the website linked to some different games that have Sprite Resource, and if we go to the Undertale one, you can see all the assets from Undertale. And this is important because if we go to Sans, where is he at? Sans here. Click this button, download, and you drag and drop it into your program of choice. In my case, mine is Sprite. You can see, look at that. Sans is right in here. And now I can definitively answer how tall is Sans. I can grab this guy here, and you can't see it at the bottom, but it tells you the size. He is 23 wide by 30 long. That makes it really nice. Let me see if I can make a new file here like this. 23 wide by 30 long. I think I just find that really neat. You can see, paste in here, and you can tell, like, he's 32 tall, right? 32 tall, 16 wide, a little bit wider than 16. But you can go and you can see how each of these sprites are made, depending on the trombone or any of them. And I think it's neat in the sense of, like I said, it's never been easier to learn the trade secrets. A really good example of this is that one game I'm playing currently as of recording this is Undertale Yellow. It's a fan game for Undertale, and I really liked the assets of the background, the saloon area of the game. And if we can get it, we can zoom in here, and now I can see, okay, if I wanted to make a barrel, how big is that barrel? I can check the size of the barrel, right? How big is that barrel compared to Sans? I can pull that barrel in. The barrel's actually really big. And that's that thing of knowing now definitively what size is something. What size is this cactus? If I want to make pixel art like this, what size do I need to be in? I really like how it just simply answers that. If I want to make a bed like this, how big is the bed? It lets you look at official art and take inspiration from it, take it as reference. It is information at your fingertips, and I really enjoyed it. It's that thing of, if I wanted to make a saloon, I can really now look in and get all the details and the edges and understand exactly what's going on depending on my favorite game. So it's really nice. And speaking of the Sprite Resource, if you're a game developer, you probably are aware of this website. You can go on here to upload games, find games. I have games currently here. I'm currently creating a game and it's on here. Narcotype Cafe, obligatory plug. But on here, you can play games and also get assets. For example, we have on here Pixelart grass. If I type that in our Pixelart, there we go. Pixelart assets, or filter with asset. Let's see here. What if I wanted food, right? And I wanted to add Pixelart food to my game. And it's that thing of, you can download this and it's also free, right? But have you ever thought about using it as reference? Like with the Sprite Resource, you can download it, drag it into your Pixelart game of choice, or not Pixelart game, Pixelart program of choice, and see how it's exactly made. And I think that just makes studying and learning the tips of the trade a lot easier. You can find out exactly the colors, the sizing, the scales. It's nifty. Super neat. Another website to mention is TheSpec. A lot of the time, people don't know what colors to use for their pixel art, don't know that direction, and a big thing about pixel art comes down to the color choice, I think. So you can find a color palette you like on here and go from there. For example, maybe you want this one. You can grab it, download it, pull it into your, I keep saying it, but your program of choice. So this Slicko 8, it has, let's see, I'm guessing 8 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, it has 8 colors. And it's that thing of, okay, I like this color, I like this palette, let me use it. One of my favorite to-go-tos is called Resurrect 64. And let me see if I can find it. It is a palette of 64 colors, hence the 64. I like how they have the highlights, the shadows, the top. If you're drawing something green, this is your default green color. And then if you need a shadow, a top, it makes it easy to know which colors to use. I think while it is a lot of colors compared to something else that's like 8 colors, it's handy in the sense of you just use one block. And there's probably a Resurrect, I'm guessing 32 out there, maybe 8. But I like how this gives you all the colors you could possibly ever need. Lastly, we can talk about videos. Now, there's a lot here, so I'll briefly go over them. There's a lot of different channels you can go through, and again, Pixelart's not really talked about, so there's not a lot of channels. If you're a Pixelart channel, or if you know of some, they're probably very well known because there's not that many out there, so I'm hoping showing you these will make more appear and they'll pop up and it'll be like not an affection, that's a little negative, like a happy sharing of things. How about that? So here, let's start off with Adam C. Unitas. Now, this guy here, great tutorials. He's also a game dev and he also does Unity. So if you're into Unity game dev, this is here for you. He goes over different topics. For example, this one is about designing heads, so it's not just Unity, it's not just game dev, but he definitely has more Pixelart geared topics towards game dev. Next up, we have Mutal. I recommend this guy if you're looking into animations. Guy here, he has a lot of, I want to say advanced techniques, but he explains it so simply that even if you're a beginner, you can still watch the advanced techniques and get them behind the scenes. I really do find him interesting. Next up, we have Panisimabic. I gave it my best shot. This guy also has animations like with the last guy. However, he's a little bit different. He's a little bit more on the sci-fi techie side. But again, just animations if you're more into that side of things. This is here for that. Next up, we have Pixel Pete, another game dev that is on the market. He has a lot of handy pixel art. Let's see, I think he has a playlist of pixel art things. Yeah, you can see here. Some pixel art 101 videos. Tons of them, 72 to be exact. Well, again, just another person to start out with if you're not sure where to get started with pixel art and topics in general. Next up, we also have Saltoons. Again, people who have different styles when it comes to pixel art. Usually this is on the game dev side of things. You can see here, walk cycle, improve your animations, tile sets, things of that nature. Just game dev things in general, and pixel art portraits. The thing of use your poison. One of my favorites is Brandon Jean Brewer. He has a very retro-y feel, retro-y style. He doesn't post often, but when he posts, he hits. He hits a lot. He just recently came out of game, so I'm excited to see it, as he does very retro, very low color too. You can see as well, he does upgrades from NES or recreating Pokemon Resort as pixel art. So if you're more into the retro side of pixel art and also into the less colors, I would recommend him. We also have Pixel Overload. He doesn't post often as well. A lot of the Pixel just don't really post. I'm realizing this now, so hopefully I can defy the odds. But this guy also has really good tutorials. They're also really in-depth as well. One of my favorites is the Tree One. I think that's how I found him. He goes over the really, I say really a lot. They're highly animated, so if you're more into the animation side of things, you're like very visual, he's very visual. Now, I've been up to this point mostly talking about game dev side of pixel art. So I wanted to make sure I added someone in here who wasn't on the game dev type of things. Silly Potato. They do scenery of pixel art, and pixel art's good for game dev, but it's also good for just art in general. You can see here rendering of a sprite in browser in the computer. And again, A-Sprite's really popular. So on here, you can see just different ways pixel art can be used, not just for game dev stuff, but if you want to create the scenery. They also add Blender to it. I think that's going a little bit on the advanced side, but I definitely, whenever I'm looking for how to make scenery, I watch their videos because it lets me see their time lapses, it lets me see even though they don't speak. It's good information because it's just good reference. It's good to know and see what they're doing and try to understand it. A lot of, I think, learning comes down to observation, upping your observation skills. But from that, we have, last but not least, him. Me. I have a series I like to do. Well, I started doing it back when I started making this channel, so about 3 years now. I feel a little bit old. about 3 years back was 30 days of learning Pixelart to become a game dev. Since then, I have done 30 different topics, and it has now morphed into me doing a study of Pixelart topics every single week, and I'll stream myself doing it. So you can see here, Pixelart study streams. I've done different topics from items to characters to materials and food and animals, and going into these topics, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done the topic before, so I start off not knowing anything, and I take you through the process of how I do my studies, how I learn. So if you don't know how to do something, I think that's the best way to watch people fail. You can see here, for example, I was talking about earlier with the armor, right? And if I go to the very beginning, I don't know armor, and this is the first time I've ever drawn armor, but I go step by step in how I usually do a study, how I try to draw Pixelart. So I go through bit by bit, and you can see here, beginning, and then, and let's see if I can get the end. Well, not the end here. Since I know this is, I'd say for my first time drawing armor, it went well, and it's usually because of the methods I used to apply to in learning Pixelart, which is number 1, reference. And you can see lots of references getting used there. Aside from that, one more note, I believe 1 or 2, let's see, one more note. If you're looking for, or if you're wanting to get into pixel art, if you're wanting to do art in general and haven't used an art program before, there is this playlist I linked to here, Beginner Guides to Sprite, and it is by Mini Sunny, a Korean pixel art VTuber. She has really adorable sprites and assets, and I'm glad that her videos, some of them have translations, but she goes over how to use Sprite, and I think it's super handy. And I said one more thing, actually 2 more things. So this is here, the Sprite encyclopedia that goes over different tools you can use in Sprite, which is very handy. And you can see here, captions. I'm not sure if there's captions for other languages, but thankfully there is one for English. It goes bit by bit and just shows you what you can do with Sprite, goes through all the tools I talked about. Well, I didn't talk about the tools, but what I talked about earlier in terms of lots of different tutorials out there for Sprite, because it's the number 1 feel. Last thing, I'm sure of it, is this guy right here, this playlist. It is a playlist I'm developing called the Pixelart Starter Kit. If you're just getting into Pixelart, but you know about art in general, art programs like the selection tool, lasso tool, brush, things of that nature, you might find this playlist to be helpful and handy. It goes into the philosophies behind making pixel art and the bit by bit in that. So hopefully you find that handy. As you can see here, it goes into shapes, silhouettes, how to get started, how to draw anything, things like that. I do hope you find that helpful, and I believe that is that in terms of things. Yeah, it mostly covered everything, and as I said before, the different topics I covered, like if we take for example the armor, I can type up here armor in the website, and I link to everything that I talked about. So you see the website here for the medals, we have the Sprite resource for games that have armor in them, and then as well itch games or itch assets I came across that have armor. Oh, this one's mine. This one has armor, Free Night 2D. Just go, again, rinse and repeat sort of thing. Saying that, anything else I'm missing? I don't believe so. And since I can't remember anything else, we're gonna end it here. I can say, at the very least, next week I will be starting a new series of pixel art learning. It'll be me going through and creating different textures and going through the thought process again, just the rinse and repeat idea of learning pixel art, making pixel art, trying to do pixel art. I will be making my own texture pack for Minecraft, and I'll go into how you can do it too. So I wanted to make sure I got this prerequisite out in terms of programs, things and that, so that when I make that video, I can point to this one and say, don't know where to start, get started here. So that'll be a follow-up to this video. Saying that though, I hope you have a good afternoon, evening, night, morning, day, and I'll see you soon, hopefully, we'll see. I also just want to take a second to thank my Patreon members, Colonel, Archie Nibs, Kiwi the Dork, Skibby Dino, Emilio Pichardo, and DC Artball Studio. Thanks to them, I'm able to do videos like this, the breakdowns, things of that nature, and also provide resources and links, and keep my website up and going because I get support from all of you. But your support enough is just watching these videos and looking at me have fun and having fun yourself and learning something new. So all the same, I do appreciate your support. Have a nice one.